Good.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. As I see it is 6 o'clock. So we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we'll go with roll call.
Foster,
Here.
Niedermeyer,
Here.
Bosloper,
Here.
Minor.
Here. All right, so we'll start with the approval of the meeting minutes from the May 27th meeting.
I make a motion that we approve them without reading. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
I think we need a little bit more specifics than
Okay,
that.
so I'm sorry, I just was quiet.
It's okay.
I make a motion that we accept the planning commission meeting from May 27th, 25. That we accept them as written.
Okay,
Support.
I hear support.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, hearing no no's, we'll move on. All right, I also now need a motion to close the regular planning meeting and open the public hearing.
I make a motion that we close the regular planning commission meeting and open it for a public hearing.
All right, anyone want to second that?
I'll support.
Okay. Is that one a roll call? Yeah, it is roll call. Roll call vote.
Foster,
Here, you mean yes? I'm not awake, I don't know
Yes.
what's wrong.
Bosloper,
Yes.
and Minor.
Yes. All right, so as of 6:03 p.m., we are closing our regular planning meeting and opening the public hearing. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to open the floor to public comment. There is a 3-minute time limit, but you may come up here at the podium, state your name and your what town you live in for the record, and you are addressing us and not each other within the room. Floor is open to public comment.
Just gonna say, what's everybody here for?
Steve Nemeth, Luniper, Michigan. You know, I got the notice in the mail and it seems kind of vague, but when you delve into it, it seems like this variance that he's requesting is going to delve into a bigger project. Sounds like he's got some big plans going on. And currently, we have a big parking problem. You know, we got the Luniper Cafe, and when the beach gets busy, these people are parking all over the place. I live on 2nd Street, so when you leave your house, come back, there's somebody in your driveway or somebody parking at the end of the street, the fire hydrant, or my neighbor's having problems. He lives across the way and he's got people in his driveway. So I think that if he's gonna go into a project like this, he's gonna have to tell the commission how he's gonna address the parking. How many parking places does he need for a project like this?
Are we talking about Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see, you know, when I talked to Neil Wakeman, and I got a lot more information than what you sent me. You know, there's a big project underway here, is where he's pushing for this, and I don't have a problem with that, but we got to be able to handle the situation. And another thing is that we have a police department that does not enforce any of these rules. You know, there's people walking by with Dixie cups drinking. They throw them in my yard. I have beer bottles in my yard. They go on the beach. They party out there after the bar closes. Nobody's out there taking care of that. They're building fires out there. So with this new bar dance floor thing, you're going to have a lot of people having big parties out there. And I don't know if this town's going to be like a Mardi Gras, New Orleans kind of thing, but you're going to have somebody to keep a lid on it. You can't just open up all this and just everybody go home at 10 o'clock at night and it's a done thing. You got to have police and you got to have parking.
And enforcement, okay.
Yeah, because you just can't have all that going on. So, there's not enough information for me to say yes or no on this thing. I'd have to say no. I'd have to say no because you have to address the parking and the police issue. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I know there wasn't a lot of information.
Can you state your, yeah,
Oh, my name is Sophia Lucarelli Miller,
and address, please?
4613 North 3rd Street in Luna Fair, Michigan. I know there wasn't a lot of information in the memo, so I just kind of wanted to briefly go over what was proposed by me. I proposed, so like I said, I know there wasn't a lot of information that was stated of what was going, the business that was proposed.
Again, you're addressing us, not the
Oh, I'm
audience.
sorry.
No, that's all right. We can hear you.
Yeah, can you speak into the
Sorry.
Sorry.
The
Your
condition
setup.
is loud, it's not.
Yes. So I'm proposing to open S&S Beach Shop for this home occupation, for this public hearing. That's the whole purpose of this public hearing. It'll only go on until mid-September, when the weather, you know, it's no longer sunny and hot out. We're just going to be selling new beach items for the convenience of the beachgoers, mostly new items, some used items, mainly rafts, toys for kids, beach towels, hats, jewelry, clothing like Luna Pier t-shirts and sun bathing suits. We're only going to be open maybe 4 to 6 days a week from 11 to 7. I'm not a resident of the home of 4416 Lakeside Drive, which is the property that we're proposing is the one that's like nearest the lighthouse, that property right there, and it's just the front porch. It's not the entire property, so customers can walk into the front porch. The items are either going to be on the front porch or they're going to be out like in the right out in front of the property. What else? Does anyone have any questions for me?
It's the same thing you've been doing.
Yeah, so we've done it, we did it last year, like this year, I know like we're going through the proper steps of it, but we're trying to do it like maybe a few extra days a week. Last year we just did it on like some weekends, maybe like every other weekend. If anybody has seen it out there before, it's gonna be basically the same thing. There really isn't gonna be any changes. There's not gonna be any alcohol there. Maybe on busy days there would be food or not food, I'm sorry, like bottled water or cans of pop inside a cooler for sale, and that's the extent of like the food and beverage. So no food.
What were you thinking for the hours of operation each day?
I'm thinking between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. So we would set up everything, we would bring everything out and bring it back in the building at the end of the day, so it's not really going to be out there on the screened-in porch. The screens may be taken off of the porch, so it's more like open. Maybe some of the screens would be left on the porch.
Yeah, I was going, some of the things that Mike had addressed before is
Sure.
we thought people would be going inside, and I see you clarify that here, that there would be no entrance allowed for,
Not inside the actual building. So just the screened-in front porch. There's like maybe one step, and then there's also a disability accessible ramp that was approved for that.
Okay, and you're just trying to do this the formal way and just get a business license and run it out
Correct.
of there?
So just trying to do it the right way.
Yeah, it clarifies a lot, honestly, because
Yeah.
when Mike was proposing it to us, he...
Well,
he
this
didn't
is
have all
just,
the
I mean, like,
information.
that's what this specific public hearing is for, like,
Right.
just this one specific thing that I'm trying to do, just this summer. I mean, it would have happened like a month ahead of time, so I could have gotten it started like earlier, maybe like a couple weeks ago or something, but, you know, it just so happened that it was done today.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do. When you said 4 to 6 days a week,
Right.
is that going to be random? How do you decide? What are you gonna do with that?
So
I mean, rainy days.
like,
you
I
might
would
not-
like to open up every Saturday and Sunday, like, but it really does just depend, like, if it's pouring out, then I
Right.
wouldn't open up that day. So like, if it's a nice, hot, sunny day and there's people on the beach, just to have that there for them to be able to,
So that would be if it's a rainy,
Right.
awful day, you wouldn't be open.
correct.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Here he is.
I'm here with a smile on my face. I just wanted to clarify.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mike Lucarelli, 4642 Allen Cove Road. I'm actually the owner of the house that my daughter wants to do the little beach shop in. A little bit of a history or background on this. At the end of the first paragraph, it says there may be employment of others. No, it's just Sophie and her husband and a friend. They're not getting paid. It may be require exterior alterations. No. Will there be increased traffic? No. Here's why. There's only 3 parking spaces in front of the whole house, and all they're doing is catering to the existing beach traffic, the existing crowd that's already there. They're not, the people are not going there to see her. They're there to support the beach crowd with beach toys and souvenirs and things along those lines. So there really is no increased traffic. It's just catering to the existing traffic that's already there. That's really all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Floor is open if anyone else wants to come up.
Jim Gardner, Harold Drive in Luna Pier. I sense a little bit of confusion, so some of it's been cleared up already. One gentleman, Mr. Nemeth, pointed out that there was not enough information, but there's I think there's two different things that he's referring to. This refers only to these beach sales, not the other item that was on the agenda earlier, in an earlier meeting. This one applies to sales. Now, I have one problem, a couple of problems actually with this. What is on the ask is home business, operating out of your home. That would be something like piano lessons or something like that. There's several things that make that not a home business. One thing, you're inviting the public into your home, and there's mechanisms to do that. You just submit a site plan, and then you get a certificate of occupancy for the building. That's the way you run a business. It's a retail business when you buy something for one price and sell it for a higher price. It's perfectly acceptable. It's allowed in a downtown mixed use. It is not allowed in a home use business. So I'm confused as to, we want to do this economic development and turn this, which is a key property. It's an ideal property for business development. And there's a process to do that. Under that zoning, doing something that's zoned for that, you submit a site plan, then you have to show that the building meets that requirements to invite people in, like exits, capacity, things like that. There's none of that here, and that's why you don't do that with a home business and allow people into your house, because you don't meet any of the state requirements. Maybe you do. If you do, then let the inspector look at it, check off the list, and move on. It's not that hard of a process. It's just a matter of applying for it that way, and I'm confused why we don't just, why the applicant, who needs to be a resident of that house, the applicant needs to be a resident according to everything that's written out there, and that's not the case here. Everything, the activity, I'm all for. It should be done, but it should be done the right way with the right application, and submit a site plan. The house has already been modified for this. Signage, anything else like that, that's not allowed with this. So the Planning Commission, true, they can allow this, but I see a whole list of things that you would have to say that's okay, including the public safety of people going into a house that hasn't been inspected for public occupation and for a public use. That's what I have.
Thank you.
This was put out by the
Could you state your
zoning.
name again?
Oh,
Sorry.
Michael
Process.
Lucarelli,
And address.
4642 Elm Cove Road. This was put out by the building official, the zoning official, who came up with this being a home occupation. He told me it's residential, it's fine, it's part of the zoning. Planning can decide to go with it. On Saturday, there's probably going to be about 80 garage sales doing the same damn thing up right here, to be honest with you. They want to continue it, because they are right near the beach, like you said, an ideal property. The building inspector did close the permit. He approved the ADA compliant ramp. He approved the screened-in porch. It's only going to be the screened-in porch. Nobody's allowed back in that building. It's locked. And even the screened-in porch, I think, is going to be limited. She says they're going to mostly just kind of look inside the window, take the screens off, and that's cool, have the tables out there. So probably not going to be a public issue at all. Very, very minimal, if any. I doubt it. We do have liability insurance. They do have an LLC. It all complies with other people that are doing similar home occupation concepts. So as far as the business license, absolutely, for next year. Right now, everything's been held up. But yeah, they are actually going to move that S&S Beach Shop over where Spencer's living, if everybody knows Spencer, next door to Pretty Boy Floyd's hideout. So it's really more just a test for a month and a half. It's not really a huge business conglomeration or anything. It's kind of like a test it, and then once we move into the official commercial properties, because technically it's still zoned residential, then we will go ahead and comply with every building official requirement and city requirement. But really we're going to do pretty much about the same as everybody else is going to do on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Oh.
I can't get it down.
If you can pull it towards yourself up, and you can take the mic off the stand.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Jeannie McCoy. My brother lives on, can you hear me or not?
No, it was just need you to state your address for the record.
Oh, 4477 Ann Street, Bloomfield.
Thank you.
My brother lives back door, or the side of his house, butts up to the property they're talking about. Very nice, it's nicely taken care of. I can't see that being the same thing as the cafe. And I believe that's where they're headed with what they're doing. To make that the same thing with a bigger place for their, and that's fine if it's not in somebody's backyard. But my brother lives right there. He owns the house on Elm and Lakeside, and they come around Lakeside and they butt up. I forgot my list at home. I hate it when but I'm not against it. But at this point, or this time I am, because there is a lot of residential people there. I lived on Elm Street for over 20 years. Got married, come back, now I live on Ann Street. I love Luna Pier. I love our little town. But we went through the other night on the golf cart and you couldn't get through because of the cars parked and the people in the street and going to the lake, coming from the lake. And it was like 9:30 at night. If that's the place that people can gather and this and that again or more, I don't want it. I wish I had my other questions because I had about 6 of them to ask them or whatever. But it's not our quiet town that I grew up in. I'm 72 and I've been here all but 2 years of my life. 2 years I was in Germany with my husband when he was in the military. So I've been here my whole life.
Thank you. Last call? All right, I'll go ahead and close public comment. Leave.
Need a motion?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing and reopen the regular planning commission meeting.
All right, roll call?
Foster,
Yes?
Niedermeyer,
Here?
Looker,
Yes.
Steiner.
Yes. I should specify roll call vote, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so then as of 6:21 PM, we have closed our special hearing and we are reopening the normal planning commission meeting. So moving down our agenda, reports, we don't have any. Old business, nothing other than what we're talking about. New business, no new business. All right, there is another window for community input, if anybody would like to.
Talk about anything else?
Yeah, anything else. This is for everything else. All right. Oh, oh, my apologies. There's some interference from my phone being too close to the microphone. All right. Then on that, now we're at planning action needed, and I think we probably want to have a discussion ahead of that, I'm assuming? Do we want a
Yes.
discussion? Yes.
We need a discussion.
Okay.
You know, it's obviously clear that this is separate from what his future site plan would be. So we need to focus exactly on what's been presented in regards to the business at hand. So,
Yes, and
you know, his other proposal had other things included, and he did address parking at that time. But again, separate issue from this. Right now, they're just addressing what they've been running as a continuous garage sale, but they're selling new goods. So it's actually a business. I think Mayor Gardner addressed that when you're purchasing and reselling goods, that is a business as opposed to a garage sale where you're just basically selling used stuff that you had in your house, right? The things that are concerning is only the portion that he brought up. I say he in regards to Mayor Gardner was the fact that, you know, hey, a business needs just a building inspection. They can get his business and run it through there. A home business would require that person to live there. I know we have the brother of the person living there, but that's not the person running the business. I mean, I like the idea of him selling goods and entertaining the people that are on the beach. I think it's a fantastic idea. I really do. You know, there's things people come down for that they need, but are the steps being taken in the right order to complete what he needs to do? Things that are also concerning is, you know, he's talked multiple, and I say he, I'm referring to Mr. Lucarelli. He's spoken with our, you know, our building zoning official, Mr. Dembski, and he's been given two different directions a couple times, so it almost seems like it's made it more confusing for our business owners to run their business in an efficient manner. So I would really like to see somebody actually give him a step list of what he needs to do, because he keeps getting different information and he presents it to us, and then we ask him to go to, you know, go speak to council, and council tells him something different. Now he's back here again. And one of his other concerns were that, you know, he's a month and a half into this now and still trying to figure out what he needs to do in the correct steps to get this taken care of. That's my point right now.
Okay.
To add on to that, I agree with everything Mr. Niedermeyer said. I was curious, is there anything on the books or anyhow that we could do a temporary approval so they can get going for 6 to 8 weeks, and then give them, you know, the rest of the year to put together what we're asking and make a decision? They might decide, like he said, that it's not worth it, but
You mean like a seasonal permit?
yeah,
This-
is there any such thing? Because I'm all for it, you know.
It'd almost be like a
Giving the
vendor's
guy an
license where a vendor
opportunity
gets
to-
authorization to sell
let's
for a
see.
certain period of time, but vendors usually have portable units, like a food truck, for an example, or a
Right.
tent that they set, But according, again, to Mr. Lucarelli, he had presented that to us before, and he said that that didn't qualify for a vendor's license.
I'm not sure it does. You look like you have something to add.
I do,
Go
because,
for it.
okay, they've been doing this for a couple years, and it's not caused any problems. This year, they're trying to do things legitimately. And I give kudos to them for coming forward and doing it legitimately. I don't see a problem with what's going on, and with them trying to take the steps to put it in front of the city and us.
Right, but
try
we're gonna
to
set,
move
we're gonna
forward.
set
I
a precedence
understand.
to other businesses on
Yeah.
doing the steps incorrectly, even, you know, and then we send it to city council, and council's gonna question, why would we send this there if the steps aren't accurate, right?
Yes,
We don't wanna set the precedence incorrectly to have someone else come in here and try and do something the same thing.
and I agree
And
with
create
that.
public hearing issues again down
I
the
guess
road.
the
So-
point what if they wouldn't have brought it forward and they would have still done it? Would anybody have said anything?
So I asked a few
That's
of
my point.
It's a
I
great
guess
question.
I'm
Heck,
trying
I can't do what ifs.
I know, but
I asked a few questions to the city attorney, and he had some issues and concerns that the applicant is not the one. So this is a home occupation application.
so it would have to be Jack.
It needs to come from the person who resides in the house, because this is supposed to be something like you're giving like lessons for something out of your house.
Like what
Yeah,
Mayor
like
said.
what Mayor said.
Right.
And I don't believe that this is the same thing. I understand they've done this in the past, like a garage sale, and there hasn't been any problems. But I don't want to, I hear Freddie also, I'm gonna echo that, I don't want to be approving something that will set precedence for something not to be the right way. Also, there's a clause in our, in Article 2, Section 201 for the home occupation, where it says that changes the outside appearance or dwelling is visible from the street. I know that they're not, when Mr. Lucarelli got up here, he's not talking about making changes to like the facade of the building, but I don't know, I think that might also include large amounts of stuff in the yard for the purpose of the business.
I don't know, there's a
I-
guy
I
right across the
understand
street
that
from the
point.
city hall that sells firewood, has a for sale sign.
That is
You know,
true.
so I mean, the only thing I could probably recommend is that recommendation, not making a motion, just so we're clear, that possibly table this, have Jack, is it Jack? I don't want to speak incorrectly. Do the application, and then we can make the motion based on that.
Okay, actually, there's a little bit more on that. So, to changes in the outside appearance of the dwelling or is visible from the street, generates traffic, parking, sewer, or water use in excess of what is customary in the residential neighborhood, creates noise, vibration, glare, fumes, odors, or results in electrical interference or becomes a nuisance, results in outside storage or display of anything including signs, requires the employment of anyone in the home other than the dwelling occupant. So, there's another part. We're having more than just the home's occupants work. I'm just trying to fit what this application is with the ordinance itself.
Correct.
Because we've gotten
Agreed.
into trouble before for not making sure that these things, all the boxes are ticked. And I don't want to see the city in that problem again.
I just wish there was some way to
Yes.
do a temporary approval to let them try for 6-8 weeks and then,
Again, that's a vendor's license, and
Yeah, and-
they've already been told that that's not
Not it.
applicable there.
yeah.
So are we going to table this again? And have Jack come in?
There's a few other problems than just the applicant right now.
We should get the other issues on record then.
But if you guys feel otherwise, like, this is a committee, we do vote.
No, I think we have to follow right now what's in front of us and do it correctly. I support that. But I also hear what Freddie's saying is I think that Mike is, if there's somebody that can sit down and like we said, every time there's something different, he feels like he's spinning his wheels, and that's not
And I agree.
fair either, right? So who can do that?
I don't know.
I don't either, but it's,
What they told us to do to make this happen. So we're doing exactly what the building commissioner told us. Right here.
But it's not
can
to
we
our
table
ordinance.
it and then us talk to, like, find out, like,
I don't even know.
to,
I think I echo what I believe, Jim, you said that the correct way would be for them to apply for a commercial license, or not commercial license, a
Site plan?
site plan. But
I think the problem that Mr. Luke really talked about before is because there is somebody living there, and they would, once you go commercial for sure with the license, that person would have to leave.
I see. So this is a little bit more complicated.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yes. I do not know what. I mean, we have ordinances for a reason,
We do.
and we should do our best to uphold them.
and there should be an ordinance in place, maybe we never needed it before, but a lot of other places have rules and regulations about yard sales. You know, are you allowed to do them once a week, once a month? You go down to City Hall, you get a permit to have a yard sale. We don't even have that in place, so that they couldn't call it a yard sale if it's 6 days a week. That's a business, so.
Again, buying and reselling goods is a business.
Mm-hmm. But yard sale,
It's not buying and reselling
Yeah,
goods.
it's not quite yard sale.
well, that, you'll have to define that, but sometimes a yard sale is new stuff. People have just bought it and then they sell it. But that doesn't even matter at this point. We don't have anything to suggest that how frequently can someone have a yard sale. Excuse me. That certainly can interfere quality of life for somebody if you live next door to somebody who has a yard sale 6 days a week and it's crap and junk and that you don't want to look at. When does it become blight? So it's like there's an awful lot of things that unfortunately times have changed, and we need to bring ourselves up to date with those things and talk about, you know, yard sales and things like that. You know, but we can't do it tonight, and that's the problem. Make it a little bit easier for someone to just do a seasonal, and maybe we look at something like that. But I don't know if we can, but some sort of a seasonal permit. But
that's not gonna help the case any.
no, it's not.
Mayor Jim, did you have something helpful to help clarify something?
I think you could put restrictions on. That's what I'm looking for. And it would be a memo of the building inspector. I'm concerned that what restrictions we're allowed to put on and what should be asked by the person applying. That's the particular side of it. I'm referring to the memo that the building inspector
Yeah.
put out. Yeah, I don't want to enter in the deliberation of all either. That's not my opinion.
I understand. I was more of asking because you'd started to say something for at least process sake.
Yeah, it does say that. It says may be considered a proposal home occupation that does not meet all the requirements may be considered by the planning commission and approved as proposed or with conditions
Yes.
following a public hearing. But is that the conditions just on the home occupation?
It would be just for what is applied for here, yes. So we can establish just specific conditions.
How do we do that in a timely manner, or can we get it done in a time?
We'd have to just discuss that here, because we would,
Tonight?
right now, yeah. If you were going to do that, if you were gonna propose any sort of motion.
So I would propose a motion.
Well, make sure you state that we're not, if you're drafting it in your head, make sure you've mentioned that you're drafting it right now and not actually proposing, unless you are proposing a motion.
Well, I'm kind of doing.
Oh, okay,
so
sorry. I
I'm
just want to
trying
make
to
sure
figure
before
out-
we.
No, I'm asking you because I don't know exactly how to word this. Is it ability to have a more direct conversation before we make a vote, or just talk about conditional things that may help this?
Mayor Gardner, are we,
You could put conditions like time or whatever, conditions,
But we can't.
temporary or whatever. I think the way I'm reading it now, that it says you can approve it with conditions.
So one of the
Whatever
conditions could be dates and timeframes.
Yes, whatever you, I think whatever you
And-
think is reasonable and approve it for the situation.
Right. I don't know how to. I want to discuss the conditions before we vote on it.
yeah,
so-
we can sit, we can discuss
Discuss
that.
it?
We can just,
So I guess as a discussion point, maybe to say, you know, certain days of maybe, weather permitting, that's certainly important.
I mean, that's for, I think that one would be pretty sketchy to assign on, that would be a.
No, if we said to them, no more than 5 days a week, or no more.
Yes, okay, sorry, I thought you
That
meant.
the way they can choose it during that. First and foremost, I would say to approve it until September 30. Let's say something that's usually wrapped up by then. We do have some warm days in September.
Okay.
So if we could give them that approval and then say, everything must be put away at night and must be presented very neatly and clean, not to look like, you know, blight. That's, we're fighting that constantly, and so, and then certainly being mindful of the people that live very, very closely to that. I don't know if you thought about music or things like that, but maybe we could forego some music and see how it's working out.
I think you're getting a little extreme.
I don't know. That's why I'm throwing them out there. I don't know.
You know, I mean, if,
Or not
if we're going to
loudspeaker.
give the business owner an opportunity to run his business, they can choose what days they want to be open.
No, that's what I said.
So,
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
they just need to abide by what's here. It says not changing the outside appearance of a home. And granted, taking off a screen porch is not altering it for a business.
No.
They can do that at any time. Let's make sure we're clear on that. You know, I think the signage might be an issue that Mr. Dembski might have an issue with because signage has to get approved by the building inspector.
Okay.
And since it would be a home business, it's probably not going to be something he's going to allow based on this ordinance, right?
Right.
So I think one of the key issues that we've discussed is that the person living in the residence should be the one who's applying, obviously, for this permit.
Right.
So, other than that, you could give them a temporary stay to allow them to do that and let the city council decide
I
if,
believe it doesn't go to city council. Mayor Jim? Yeah.
No, it doesn't go to city council.
It's just.
oh, so it's just us.
Just up.
Then once Mr. Jack has been placed on the permit, if there's any other discussions or restrictions
If we give
that
it-
we need to address,
Allow it for this summer, put an 8-week, whatever it is on there, that gives us time to help him put together a plan to move forward if they so choose to do that for next year.
There's an issue of getting the name changed because that would need to go through the building inspector's office. And then we would probably still be required to have a public hearing. And we have to wait 20 days.
Because the name change on the permit?
That's just process, not for just the name change, any kind of change in permit, I would assume. Is that my understanding correct?
Well, it doesn't comply. There's a lot of things that don't comply, we've been listed in, and that's.
Yes.
That's just one of them. If that answers the question, and a little procedural thing, if I can add it, is that the application goes to the building inspector. He has the authority to approve it if it meets everything that's in the zoning ordinance. In this case, it did not.
Yes.
So he listed everything that said why it doesn't comply. Then it goes to the planning commission, who may approve it as is or approve it with whatever restrictions they deem
Conditions.
necessary.
Okay.
But then it's your decision. It doesn't go to council or anything.
But the
And it doesn't
issue-
go back to the building inspector either.
It does?
No, he did his part. Which
So-
he had to do. He had to reject it because it didn't meet it. And then he puts it here.
So because of who's gonna live there, is what Megan just said correct, that we'd have to have a public hearing and all this stuff, and
Well, that's just one of the things. That's just like all the other things that don't apply. So I don't think that's, I don't know, how many things you,
well, on a temporary basis, that's the whole point, so.
to answer the question I think you're asking is, does that have to be changed before you can approve it? And my answer is no, it doesn't have to change because there's a whole bunch of things on that that don't apply. So that's just one of them. So you do probably have the authority to say, well, granted, even though that's wrong too.
Okay. All right.
So as you were saying, though, if we allow this under a temporary, until they can get Jack on, at least one of the things, get Jack on the permit and give them the 30 days, because it's 30 days until we meet again, and give them a temporary
First thing,
stay.
we don't even
They
have
do-
to
yeah,
change
that's what-
the,
We don't have to.
We don't have to per what the mayor just said, but there's still, this kind of falls outside of what the home occupancy permit is supposed to. It's supposed to be more for a business that wouldn't be noticeable within a residential area.
So we want the sign. So the sign is what you're saying.
He's basically,
Which would go
so
under
Mr.
that
Denke has
too.
5
Just
bullet
the
points that says that he doesn't
activities, yeah.
qualify for the home occupation business is what he put on here. So right now, it doesn't qualify. That's where we are. Unfortunately. So the options on the table would be that Mr. Lucarelli would have to go back and do a commercial site plan to do a business out of there, or amend his building plan and make changes and get the correct person on the permit to qualify for the home
and
occupation.
I think we should do both. I was just saying that
And it'd be
if we put
summer
a limit
deal.
on the time frame, temporary, and then, but not again. But
So-
it doesn't appear that we can do that.
Devil's advocate, if we did approve it, if
It's
somebody else came to us with something very similar and we
It's
said no,
approved, it's approved, it's
precedence.
approved.
we set a
Yes,
precedence.
Right.
And while we have good faith in
Yeah.
terms of the fact that they've done similar in past years,
But that goes back
we
to what
don't-
Freddie was saying, that's the
we
if
don't
situation.
know if we'll have something like this in
No,
front of us from
I
someone
know.
else.
I mean, I have my opinions, but I know that I need to follow the letter of the law here. That's what we gotta
That's
do.
also where
And
I'm
that's, yeah,
And it's
I wanna
unfortunate.
do it, but I don't see how we can.
All right, well, then we need a motion. Unfortunately, I have to make a motion to deny the request for the home occupation of residents 4416 Luna Pier Road, parcel 585103000400, due to the fact that the information provided, it unqualifies it or disqualifies it.
Any second?
I'll second that.
All right, then it goes for a roll call vote.
Foster,
Voting to deny, so yes.
Yes.
No.
Niedermeyer,
Yes?
Bosler,
No.
and Steiner.
It's not gonna matter, but yes.
Okay.
All right, motion carries. All right, what's next on our agenda? I have too many things in front of me. Okay. On to correspondences received and sent. I do not have anything. Any commissioner input?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think that we should not just what we just voted on get left here. I think we need, as a group, to maybe talk about how we can make this an easier process, like Freddie had said, and talk about it for the future. We're just going to keep having the same issues, and probably look at yard sale stuff, and maybe we just decide no, but it keeps getting brought up. We don't have to do it tonight. I just would like to, I know that Connie had mentioned from the master plan that DDA and the council and everybody, meet periodically at least twice a year and talk about these things, because this is going to affect the downtown group as to what we're doing. So I think this is a perfect example of why we need to come together and find out what the residents, how they feel. I mean, I think we did tonight. And then, but also at the same time, make it reasonable for a business owner to pick it up, fill it out, submit it. And that didn't happen here, so, we, just something to put on, something for us to think about in the future is that this appears to be something that's gonna come up again, and we have to be prepared.
Any input down at the end of the table? No? Okay. Ready?
Only thing, since it's being recorded, just remind the public that we have officially changed the time to 6 p.m. so we can try and get additional commissioner input. We do have a couple vacant seats, so if you know someone who may be interested to invest in this city, we're looking for some more volunteers. And there are other portions that are available as well. We've got DDA, Planning Commission. There's also Parks and Rec is still looking for volunteers. So we're always looking for people to help support us. That's all I have.
I'll second those points.
Saturday, big day. Big day.
Yep.
There will be vendors and food trucks pulling in for the townspeople that are in the downtown area. They're going to start pulling in about 6 a.m. So you will hear us down there putting people on locations and food trucks being hooked up and stuff like that, and shuttling people back and forth. But the garage sales don't start till 8. Is that right? 8 o'clock?
That is my understanding.
Yeah, so
But that's never stopped anyone from
just know
selling
that
early.
Yeah.
starting this Saturday at 6 a.m., you will hear us down there putting people on location.
The dumpster for the fireworks is delivered on Thursday.
Thursday now?
Thursday
Okay.
after, Thursday, that's what she said to me, so I got the sign ready, but,
Okay.
so
I got a lot.
there's things coming in, and just be patient with it, but, and as always, if anybody is awake at 8 o'clock and has an hour, I bet they can find something for you to do down here, putting stuff in. The biggest thing is we're looking for folks that, if you have a golf cart, we're trying to get transportation. The vendors need to park up by,
In the plaza.
in the plaza, and they're gonna be parked there all day, but then they have to get their product and tables and stuff from there down here. And so, we need assistance with that, and it shouldn't take very long, but if you have a golf cart and you feel like you'd like to just, help a little bit, we'd be very, very grateful. Even if you can only do two and you have to take off, that's two. But there's almost 75 vendors, so
It's gonna be good.
it is
a
gonna
good
be
time.
very good. Weather's supposed to be good. We told the mayor he needed to make sure it was 80 and perfect and no rain. He didn't fix the eclipse, so he has to fix that. But,
Okay. I guess my only remarks are going to be, I think for next meeting, let's try to look for some of those sample ordinances from other towns. Something that we might want to propose to our lawyer to look over and maybe make for ourselves. So,
in regards to the, what we
Yes.
talked, what I was just saying.
yeah, let's take
I can do
action,
that
and I
too.
think
I
that's
can help with
probably
that.
just good in general to have something on the record, because you're right, we don't have anything. Not that we want to have to make our residents all pull permits to have a garage
I don't
sale,
want
I don't
that
think
either.
so.
No. We did that in the largest city.
I
I'm
think for
just
more
saying that,
expansive ones.
that was just the city wanted money.
Yeah, let's
It
take a
was
look and
just
see what's
like,
out there.
you know, there is a rule to, you know, you don't mind if your neighbor has a couple of yard sales, but then I think
Right,
some people would say, all right, you know, this is,
there's an
Out of
expressed
control.
interest, yeah, there's an expressed interest, and we need to make sure we
Yeah,
have rules in place.
exactly.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn? If anyone else has anything to add though,
Did
first.
you want to go over future meeting dates, or did you want to
Oh,
close?
yep, I should read those. Thank you. All right, future meeting dates. Is Parks and Rec. That is on, I believe that I have last month's meeting dates in front of me. Let me swap.
July 8th.
Thank you. I've got it up in front of me now.
Okay.
All right, yeah, so July 8th, 2025 at the 7 p.m. at the library. The Flood Erosion Protection Council, July 15th at 7 p.m. Water Tower Park. DDA, they have a meeting tonight at the Lighthouse, as well as the 22nd of July at 7 o'clock. Planning Commission, that's us. We'll be here again at 6 p.m. on the 22nd of July. And City Council, their next meeting is this Thursday, the 26th at 7 p.m. here. And with that, I will ask for a meeting to adjourn.
Make a motion to close the meeting.
All right, and I've heard support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Before everybody goes, I'm curious, are you here because we changed the time to 6 o'clock? Did it make it easier? Or is that just a coincidence?
Yeah, we're here because we got a letter. Well, my mother got the letter.
Yep.
We're here on her behalf.
Mhm.
And really didn't know what was going on.
Was that the same letter that
But we
he was
did,
speaking of about
Yes.
the downtown development? Okay.
we did recognize that 4 o'clock put too many people out of, they couldn't even attend if they wanted to, they were working.
4
So,
o'clock, yeah.
giving it a shot.
I do have